Hi there. This is your introduction to Sunrise Strength Stretch and Tone. I am going to be your instructor. My name is Greta Ripley, and I look forward to meeting you all, those of you who I don't know, and for the repeat offenders, I look forward to seeing you again. So, the repeat offenders can tune me out for a minute or so. I am, as I mentioned, Greta. I'll be your instructor. I have been a nurse for more than 35 years, although I quit nursing about a year ago. I am a longtime yoga instructor and Pilates instructor. I also am a TRX instructor and a group exercise instructor and a personal trainer. And I have some training in functional fitness. And I am also a certified osteoporosis instructor. So I have a wide background and we'll use a lot of it in class together. I love this class because it's a mix of lots of things. Alrighty, so I'm going to talk a little bit about setting up a space for you to exercise in, and props and some just general things. So I'm just going to take a look here. As you start to think about where you're going to exercise, look around and make sure there aren't any lamps that if you're flailing your arm out and about that you would knock over, or pictures on the wall, or chandeliers that can swing if you're a little heavy-footed or moving side to side. So just take a look around. Think about where you're going to set up your device so you can see it. You don't have to be turning your head to one side to cock and look at it, right? That it'll be in front of you, just like I would be in front of you in class. For some of you, you don't like to be in the front row, but at home it won't matter. Also think about traffic flow in your house. Do you have people coming and going? You might not want to set yourself up by the back door or whatnot. You might want to think about, if you still have a landline, I do, that it doesn't ring in the middle of class. Most of you will probably put your microphones or your devices on mute your microphone in Zoom when we're practicing. But I don't know if it would be bothersome to you. You might want to think about that. Same with your cell phone. Maybe put it on mute, just like if you were in a traditional class. We usually begin this class. I'll sort of break down the class for those of you who haven't been in class with me before. Traditionally, we do a warm-up / cardio for about 20 minutes. Then we move on to strength. Body weight exercise and exercises using weights or props. We'll talk about that further in just a second. And then the final 20 minutes or so is more the core and stretching. And we end up on a mat, so you'll for sure need a mat. We usually begin with our shoes on, tennis shoes, whatnot. I want you to think about this. And if I could turn on a neon light around me right now, I would, or flash something on the screen. I'm not that technologically savvy to do that. You are going to have some kind of tennis shoe on. And we're going to be moving from side to side and front to back when we're doing our cardio. You don't want any uneven surfaces under you, right? No rubber mats, no thresholds, no area rugs. Even carpeting can sometimes be an issue. If that's the only space you have is carpeted, that's fine. What I'm going to ask you to do is not do side to side. I'll shout out a modification for that. I will try to remember. But the ideal is you have your tennis shoes on and you have a smooth surface underneath you. Okay, so preferably a smooth floor. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll deal with it, whatever it is. And the other thing is, what you do on the first class or two or the first week doesn't have to be what you do the rest of the week. It's a learning thing, right? You'll figure out what works for you. All right, let's see here. Let me talk about props next. Gather your props and have them in a basket or a bag or whatnot. What might you need? Again, I know we all don't have everything. I don't even have any weights at home. It's ridiculous. As much fitness as I do, I really don't have hardly any weights at home. And so use what you've got. I'm going to lean down, probably out of frame here for a second. Sorry about that. Yoga strap, if you have it, an old men's tie will work. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. I'll cue something. I'll do something that you can do without it. If you have one of these TheraBands, mine's green, yours might be a different color. They're stretchy, right? They're one long piece. Mine's about 6 feet long. Has to be kind of long. Again, I won't plan a whole class around this, but if you have it, it's handy. If you have, I'm going to bend it down again. If you have loops, right? This is what I'm talking about. They come in different strengths. Gather those. I'm going to talk about weights now. I told you I don't have any weights at home. Here's what I'm using. These are almost 2 pounds. They're little bags of sand. They're from another fitness thing that I have, a vest. I'm going to use these for my light weights. I'm asking you all to bring a set of light weights. Don't have something like this. Maybe you have a 2-pound dumbbell at home. That will work. Maybe you have a couple cans of beans. They have to be the same size. This can is 16 ounces, so slightly over a pound with the can and whatnot. The beans weigh a pound. All right, so that will work. You need a little stronger, get a bigger can of beans. This one is 1 pound, 11 ounces, so closer to a 2-pound weight. All right, if you have a traditional weight, bring it. You'll look like the pro. Then we'll need a heavier weight. This I have a little bit, but they're weird. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And you might have something like this too. That's why I'm showing you. So what do I mean by heavier weight? For those of you who are in class, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, it's more than a 3-pound weight. All right, preferably 2 of them, something that matches. For both light and heavy weight, it always has to be a matched set, right? Not 2 cans of the same kind of beans are exactly the same weight, right? Not 1 can of beans and a bag in the other hand. Make them identical. All right, so your heavier weight. Over 3 pounds, up to about 10 pounds, depending on who you are. I have these weights. I have more than one that go on the end of a barbell. They're 2.5 pounds. I could use that. I could use 2 of these for my heavy weight. And then I have a dumbbell that's 5 pounds. So I might use something like that. So those are your weights. Let's see. The other thing I want to talk about is if you normally use a pillow at home, you might like a pillow. Back that up. If you normally use a pillow in class under your head when we lie down, you might want a pillow too, something handy for that. And then do you use knee pads in class? At Schoolcraft, they provide knee pads. If you don't have a knee pad at home, sometimes a gardening pad will work. Mine is dirty, but I could put it in a plastic bag and stick it, or even a pillowcase, and use it that way. I have an old yoga mat. That's what I use for my knee pads, even in class. I just cut a strip. You can fold an old yoga mat, the one you don't like, and use that for your knee pad. So think about that. Some people like them under their wrists. That would work too. So a couple of options here. And then the other thing, the last thing as far as props is a chair. If you normally use a chair in class when we're doing balance work, have a chair handy. Maybe a chair isn't feasible given where you're going to work out. So maybe it has to be a stool or a little step ladder or something. So think about that. Or a wall. If you use the chair for balance, maybe you use a wall. At some point though, I think during the semester, I will probably ask you to bring a chair. So begin to think about it, please, so that it's not a surprise when I ask you to bring it. The other thing to think about is your temperature and your lighting. In class, Don always takes care of the temperature and the fans. So think about the temperature in your house. My house, depending on where I am, is a little bit warm for me to um, exert myself, right? So I might want to turn my thermostat down, depending on the room I'm going to use, the morning of class or the day of class, just for the time period during class. You can always adjust it. Maybe you want a little fan if you're one of the people that like the fan on. And think about your lighting. Do you want to have all the lights on so you're nice and energized, or how is that going to work? Alrighty, and as always, I will offer modifications and challenges. Often in class, I'll say if you have one of the O's, osteoporosis, osteopenia. So if you hear me say that, that's what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably don't have one of the O's, so don't worry about it. But I'll give you options to make it more challenging. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is cueing. So most of you who know me know that sometimes I speak menopause. And the camera that I use to record myself for this video and that I'll use for Zoom creates a mirror image. Okay, so this might be a little challenging. When you see me, I'm going to say turn left, and to you it's going to look like I'm turning right. I need to decide how I'm going to deal with that, and I suspect you all will help me with that. I'm receptive to kind and loving feedback, so you have my email address. Feel free to email me. Here's what I'm talking about. I see myself as in a mirror. So right now I'm going to raise my right hand, but in theory it looks like my left hand, right? So cueing might be an issue. All right, we'll get it. We'll work it out, though I know we will. All right, so sorry for the long-windedness. I look forward to seeing you all as we begin this new venture together. So take care. See you soon.